in my Discord server, somebody just like out of the blue in general just said, "Do you guys think rank matters?" That exact quote, and I feel like it's an interesting like topic to think about, right? Like, my first. Well, I want to hear what your take on it first before I like say anything. You know.
What do you mean? Does rank matter? Like
that's just the question. Does rank matter? Just answer that question.
Does I don't even understand the question. It's like does it matter to what? Like,
okay, yeah.
Does it matter to get better? Does it matter to?
Yeah. Okay. So that was actually my first question as well. After he said that, I also said that. I said, "What are we saying about matter in this sense, right?" And then we had this whole interesting conversation about a bunch of other stuff that we can get into later. But basically, like after we had that conversation, he came back in and he said, "For player skill." That's what he said.
For player skill.
Yeah.
I think so.
You think so? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think you were gonna say that.
I think I mean, I think it's just as important as playing long sets. Or
no. I don't think he's saying ranked as a place, as like a mode. I think he's saying rank as in like your earned rank, you know?
Oh.
Sorry.
I mean,
it does rank matter,
obviously,
not ranked.
it's like, is the question like, is it an indicator of, is like your MR like an indication of like your skill level?
Well, he didn't specifically say MR. He said any rank. So we're talking about anything from like bronze, silver, gold, all the way up to like master, like 1600.
Yeah, sure. Is any rank any indication of your skill level?
Basically, that's the question. Essentially, yes.
I mean, definitely to some degree, right? Like, you put any 1800 MR player versus a 1600 MR player, the 1800 MR player is almost certainly gonna have a higher win rate, right?
Yeah, I actually agree with that, but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I do think it matters, but it's an imperfect measurement, right? Obviously, there are ways to like game the system, and there are also ways to like there are even instances of like Menardi being like platinum. He just doesn't fucking care about ranked, right? Like in that instance, rank doesn't matter at all.
Sure, but that's not really the question though, right? It's like, if I play a bunch of ranked over a long period of time, is this going to be an accurate reflection of my skill level? That's the question, right?
Oh, wait, that is a more nuanced question. Actually, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah,
that's the only question, because if you're saying like, okay, yeah, Menardi is plat on Blanca because he never plays rank, like obviously in that case it doesn't fucking matter, because
he just doesn't use it at all. It's not even being utilized.
It's not like the only way you're ever going to be able to get any accurate measurement for rank is if you play it enough, right? Like it's
it requires a large sample size essentially to even.
I mean, not even a large sample size, just like a
sample
threshold.
Size. Yeah. I completely agree.
Like, it's not even like
So I think we've decided that we need to be more precise with the question, right? Is your rank an accurate representation of your skill? And you think the answer to that is 100% yes?
100% in the sense that, like, yeah. I guess that's a weird way of putting that, for sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I agree with that. Because I think
you say 100% as in like, I think that like a 1601 MR player is definitely better than a 1600 player. Like I don't think 100% in that, like,
like, roughly speaking.
Yeah, like you can say that your skill level is within a range of MR. I think is a more accurate.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think so someone also brought up this point where they said that tournaments are a better indicator of skill. And I thought about that, and I was like, I think that's a take that a lot of people have, right? They're like, oh, like, rank doesn't matter at all. How well do you do in tournament, right? That's like the supreme like truth answer to how good you are, right? But I was actually thinking about that, and I think that I'm not sure if that's true, actually.
Well, I mean, it's just this is such a dumb thing to even talk about, because it's like,
why?
It's like, do better in tournament, like the like the level of players that you're going to meet at a local is just going to be so varied. Like you can't really say that like I do better in tournament here. Like it's just like
it depends on the tournament. That's what you're
like
saying.
what tournament? Yeah, like what are you even talking about? Like it's like
that's a
it's
good
like
point,
it's like are you in a pool with a bunch of like diamond players or like
yeah, it's super area dependent.
Like what are you even talking? It's like
so then by that logic, I would say that rank is actually a better representation of the tournament results because it depends on the tournament, right? Are you going to like a major? Are we talking about major tournaments?
Well, I mean, unless whoever's asking this question is specifically saying the results at this specific tournament where I know that like the skill level is around this level, then yeah, sure. I mean, I find it difficult to believe though that you would start doing better at tournament and then also not be climbing a little bit in MR at the same time. Like, yeah, I find it difficult to believe that you become significantly better at this tournament, but not better in ranked.
Yeah, yeah.
I find that difficult to believe.
So basically, we're saying, let's say for Joe Schmo, this random competitive wanting to be a competitive Street Fighter player, right? He goes to his local. His local is like mostly high rank players, mostly master, some diamond. I feel like that's usually like the distribution, relatively speaking. And he's also playing ranked. What do you think is a better representation of like his skill, his tournament results, or his rank? Because personally, I think for Joe Schmo, I actually think his rank is a better indicator. That's what I would say. Unless a more like robust, obviously it's prone to imperfections, right? He could be like one and dunning people to climb or whatever. But
this goes again to like, I don't really know like what his tournament results even mean, right? Like, yeah, I placed fourth at my local in
yeah, so
Houston, Texas.
So by that logic, then his tournament results are
literally don't know anything.
Yeah, but then by that logic, then his tournament results are like basically like unreadable to a degree, right?
Yeah, it is. So I mean I guess in that sense then yeah,
rank is a better indicator.
A better indicator.
Basically. Okay, that's really interesting. Actually, I didn't think about that, but yeah, because it's just like so different. Like you don't know if you get seeded to play. You get unluckily seeded to play the best guy, and you go 0-2, but you actually like would have got second at the tournament if you like were seeded differently. You know.
I mean, I do think that like stuff like tournaments, where maybe you'll play the same person more than once, or maybe you'll play like I don't know, just like less. You'll play against less people who are like doing like cheese strategies that have like a clear adjustment to them, right? Like there's like a class of player in ranked that just have like their cheese strats or whatever, and depending on like how fast you can adjust to them, will like boost your win rate in ranked, right?
Yeah,
it's like but like it's not like that isn't an important skill, right? Like adapting as fast as you can in like a first to two or first to three, it is like a skill, and that's like I think something that like ranked is like gonna teach you.
Yeah, but that like brings up an interesting point.
But stuff in like a longer set will teach you more, like will teach you better baseline strategies, right? So you don't have to rely on like cheesy stuff.
Yeah, I agree. But I think, you know how we said that ranked is probably a better representation in most cases than your tournament results for Joe Schmo, like for X player, right? The average player, right? But like, I think the reason people use that tournament argument, like that tournaments are a better representation, is because I think that a lot of people like we can just use Honda as an example, right? There are people who can like climb really high and master with Honda, and then like if they go to a tournament, they'll get owned, right? Because
is that even true though?
What do you mean? Is that even true?
Is that even true?
Okay. Like you're talking about the Honda thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Take Honda out. Sorry, that's a bad example. Like there are people who like play hyper aggressive. Like I would even say I was one of those players, right? Where like I hit 1800 MR playing Jury with a shit ton of drive rush and jump, no footsies really whatsoever. Like, just a lot of like roll the dice, and like I try to get good at rolling the dice, and like I was able to climb high, but I would lose probably to somebody who's maybe even 200 less MR than me if I played them in a long set and they understood how I played in tournament, right?
Sure.
So I think that's the argument for why people say tournament results might be better.
I don't think that always has to be the case, though. Like,
yeah, it's not. It's actually not the case most of the time, I would say, but it is the case some of the time, right?
Yeah, honestly, you know, it just it's a weird argument to make. It just sounds like a bunch of copium, man. To be honest, like,
wait, in what sense?
Like, bro, my MR doesn't even matter, bro. See me in tournament, like that type of shit. You know what I mean?
I bet it's used like that more often. I think that,
I mean, like that's just what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, okay. I agree, but I actually think the final answer is like you just like to know how good you are is an immeasurable thing. You can never get a exact precise measurement on how good you are at a game, right? So that's why tools like ranked and tournament even exist, right? It's like kind of the art of trying to measure how good people are and see who's the best, right? In a sense. So
yeah, I mean, I think but I think people will even disagree that even a tournament doesn't really properly decide.
By that logic, right? Then, like, if we don't, let's say we didn't have ranked. Let's say ranked didn't exist. It was just deleted from the game. And let's say tournaments didn't exist. They were made illegal. Nobody ever played in a tournament ever. How would you ever know how good you were?
You would have to set, like compared to like if you had like a pool of 10 players and you were trying to figure out who the best one was.
Yeah.
Like, is that like?
Sure.
I mean,
but they can't play a tournament and they can't play ranked with an ELO system, right?
The answer to that would be you just run a bunch of long sets. You just run
and see who wins the most and count the numbers,
and then you just compare the win rates. That's it.
But that's essentially a ranked system, right? You're using a system.
Yeah. Like the ranked system, like a zero sum MMR
is essentially what we just said.
Is a win rate comparison.
Yeah,
it's just
So therefore, by that logic, the only tools we have to measure somebody's skill is their tournament results and their ranked results, right? Is that the truth? Would you say that's the truth?
I mean, if that's the only mode in which people are competing in, then yeah.
I mean, that is the only mode in which people are competing. What other mode are they competing in the real?
But I'm just saying that's just how it has to be. If that's the only way, people are playing the game, then of course that's the only way you can measure that.
Yeah, that is how it is in reality. So therefore we can conclude that the only way to measure skill in our current reality is your rank and your tournament results. Would you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, I would say that then we answered the question, right? So the question is your rank an accurate representation of your skill? And I think we answered that. It is not necessarily a perfect, accurate representation, but it is, along with tournament results and your rank, which are the only two skills we have, they are the most accurate representation we have of your skill, although it can be imperfect. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, sounds okay to me.
All right, well, I think we beat it to death. Then I feel like that was like
we beat it to death. We've been talking for like 10 minutes about it.
It's 15 minutes. If you thought the video was interesting, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe, and tell us what you think. And also maybe comment down below what you would want us to talk about next as a topic. And also, I did start a Discord server where people talk about things like this, and we just get to hear a variety of opinions. So check the link in the description if you want to join that and just join a community of players trying to get better. So thanks for watching, guys.